I have to say, Mr. McGlade, after hearing a lot of very depressing testimony over the last few days, yours is the first that gave me hope because you actually outline concrete plans and concrete strategies to get from here to there. But your testimony underlined for me my great source of unease with C-12, which is a bill that has a plan to make a promise to have a plan without any actual plan and without any actual method for accountability. So because I want to cheer myself up, I wonder if you could tell me how the International Energy Agency got from the point of saying this is something that would be nice to have to actually coming up with the very specific concrete examples you gave of, okay, we need to do this with electricity, we need to do that with transportation. How did you set those benchmarks? And and is there a way that we can use the very limited foundation of C-12 to get to where we need to be?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. The pathway which we constructed started off with the goal to make the global energy system net zero in 2050. But unfortunately, we're not close to achieving that goal, given what we see in the international space in terms of policies and ambitions. So what we wanted to do was to see, well, how can we get there in terms of the technologies that we have available today? Where can they be most effective? And for example, you mentioned the electricity sector. That's one of the areas where we know the technologies that can be most effective in reducing emissions from electricity. So in our pathway, it's the first to come to net zero. There are other areas where we know the kinds of technologies which will be required. However, they aren't necessarily yet available in the market. They might be at the demonstration or the prototype phase. So in our pathway, we assume that there's a huge level of effort over the next 5-10 years to make sure that those technologies become available. And so in those difficult to decarbonize sectors, like heavy industry, like long distance transport, that's where we need lots of work to make sure that we get those technologies coming through. And that's how we developed our milestones, on the basis of the technologies we have available, on the basis of the policies which we see countries having around the world, and then the technologies which will become available later on, which we will need towards getting towards net zero.
I represent the province of Alberta, which is a fossil fuel dependent economy. We are the engine that has run the economy of Canada literally and figuratively for a long time. For my province to make this transition is not an easy task, and we need to know that there will be the investments and the incentives to move us away from conventional fossil fuel production to blue hydrogen, to solar power, which is something at which my province excels. What I'm looking for, I guess, is to see what kind of legislation we need that will give the correct market signal to investment that says that Alberta needs to prepare for a new kind of economy so that my province is not stranded and hugely disadvantaged.
And it's addressed to?
I guess.
May I?
Yeah, please go ahead. Whoever wants to jump in.
Thank you. You raise a critically important question, and thank you so much for doing that. Maître Doré spoke about the importance of a just transition. And clearly for a country which is a major oil and gas exporter, and the province within Canada, which is the largest oil and gas exporter, a just transition needs to take care of everybody who is invested in the oil and gas industry. And my short answer to your question is an ambitious climate law would give the beginning of a series of market signals. As Mr. McGlade has pointed out, governments set policies, markets respond to government price signals. And lest I be misunderstood, I'm not recommending that the Senate and the House of Commons and the Parliament of Canada not adopt a climate law. I am recommending the kind of ambitious market signal that would be provided by a climate law that will go in the direction of the evolution that the international agency has demonstrated that we need a very ambitious effort internationally as well as in Canada. And I repeat that it is critically important that the just transition include all of the workers in the oil and gas sector in Alberta and elsewhere across this country.